The hotel manager's hand cracked across her face, a slap so loud it turned the entire lobby into a courtroom of silence. Guests gasped, some laughing, others filming, certain they were watching a powerless maid get crushed under authority. He called her trash, ordered security to drag her out, and smirked as she trembled, convinced he had destroyed her dignity. But what he didn't know was that this maid wasn't powerless at all. She was the hidden owner of the empire he worked for, and his downfall had already begun. The lobby of the Grand Orion Hotel gleamed with polished marble floors, towering chandeliers, and a staff drilled to deliver perfection, at least on the surface. Behind the velvet smiles and glossy brochures, truth hid in plain sight. And tonight, truth had walked in, wearing the uniform of a maid. Maya Warren moved with quiet purpose, her eyes scanning every detail. She wasn't here to clean rooms or serve guests. She was here to test her own empire. The Grand Orion was the flagship of the Warren Hospitality Group, a multi-billion-dollar chain she and her husband Marcus owned outright. Yet tonight she'd stripped herself of title and power, disguising as an entry-level maid to witness how her staff treated those at the bottom. At first, the receptionist's dismissive glance told her plenty. The girl barely looked up, flicked her nails against the counter, and muttered, "Staff entrance is around back." Maya didn't argue. She wanted to see how far the contempt would stretch. She walked deeper into the lobby, feeling the weight of stares. Guests whispered. Some smirked. "What's a maid doing here?" Their eyes didn't see a woman. They saw what her uniform represented. Then came the voice that would ignite it all. Bradley Thornton, the hotel's general manager, stormed across the floor, his expression twisted in disdain. He was a man intoxicated by authority, the kind who wielded his badge of title like a weapon. His shoes clapped sharply against the marble as he closed in on Maya. "You," his voice cracked like a whip. "What in God's name do you think you're doing parading through this lobby? This is for guests, not help." Maya stopped, met his glare, and spoke evenly. "I had business here." Laughter erupted from the front desk staff. A concierge stifled a grin. Bradley's smirk widened. "Business? You? Don't make me laugh. You're dressed for scrubbing floors, not for walking into my lobby like you own it." The irony burned, but Maya's face remained unreadable. Guests began circling closer, phones discreetly raised. Conflict was entertainment, and humiliation drew a crowd. Bradley stepped closer, lowering his voice, but not enough to hide the venom. "Let me guess. You thought you could use the staff uniform to sneak into areas you don't belong, looking for a free meal, maybe a free room?" "I'm here to observe," Maya said calmly. He scoffed. "Observe? Listen, sweetheart. The only thing you'll observe is how fast security drags you out." His voice lifted again, turning to the crowd like a performer. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for this intrusion. We'll have this situation cleared in moments." Some guests chuckled. Others shook their heads, enjoying the spectacle. Maya's silence only seemed to fuel him. He gestured sharply. "Phone, hand it over. Staff aren't allowed to record or loiter in guest areas." She held it tighter. "This is my personal device." Bradley's lip curled. "Not anymore." He snatched it from her hand with a suddenness that drew gasps from the onlookers. He raised it high, turning it like a trophy. "Caught her red-handed, ladies and gentlemen, trying to record guests. Disgraceful." Maya exhaled slowly. "That's theft. That's protocol," he snapped. "And if you don't like it, you can get out. Better yet, you can grovel on your knees right here and apologize for disrupting my lobby." The crowd shifted uneasily. Some muttered approval. Others looked away, embarrassed to watch dignity ground into dust. But Maya stood tall. Her refusal to kneel infuriated him. "Security!" he bellowed. 2 guards hurried over, their faces uncertain. "Escort this maid out of here. If she resists, call the police. Let's have her arrested for trespassing." Phones shot higher into the air. This wasn't just drama, it was going viral. The humiliation of a black maid manhandled in a luxury hotel lobby was irresistible content. Before the guards could move, Maya spoke, her voice steady. Every second of this will be remembered. Every word you've spoken, every action you've taken, it's all being recorded. Bradley smirked, waving her phone. Recorded? On this? Please. It's already erased. With that, he dropped it onto the marble and stomped down, the crack echoing like a gunshot. Gasps tore through the lobby. Some guests laughed nervously, others shouted in protest. But no one stepped in. Maya bent slightly, picked up the shattered pieces, and whispered more to herself than anyone else. You just destroyed more than a phone. Bradley leaned in, sneering. No, darling. I destroyed your little fantasy that you matter here. This is my hotel and you are nothing. The slap came fast. His hand swung across her cheek with a crack that silenced even the laughter. The crowd froze. Phones tilted forward, capturing the moment. A guest gasped audibly. A woman covered her mouth. For a second, no one breathed. Maya steadied herself, hand pressed lightly to her cheek. She did not cry. She did not flinch. She simply stood straighter, her eyes locked on Bradley's with an intensity that unsettled even him. Ruth Caldwell, an elderly guest near the entrance, shouted, "That's assault! You can't strike her like that!" Bradley turned, rage still on his face. "Stay out of this, old woman. You don't know the rules here." But murmurs in the crowd shifted. Outrage was building. Some lowered their phones in shame, realizing they had been complicit. Others whispered, "Did he just hit her?" "He's gone too far." Maya's voice finally rose, calm but cutting. "You think this hotel is yours. You think your title makes you untouchable. But you've just made the gravest mistake of your career." Bradley laughed harshly, though sweat glistened on his brow. "Career? I'm untouchable, sweetheart. People like me run places like this. People like you scrub our floors." The arrogance lingered in the air like poison. Guests looked between them, caught between disbelief and fear of what might happen next. Maya's silence was heavier than shouting. She didn't need to scream. Every camera in the room was screaming for her, and somewhere beyond the hotel doors, help was already coming. The slap still echoed in the marble lobby of the Grand Orion Hotel. For a heartbeat, the entire room was frozen. Bradley Thornton stood smug, chest heaving, convinced he had asserted dominance. Around him, guests whispered nervously, some appalled, others entertained, but every single one of them caught in the pull of the moment. Maya Warren straightened slowly, her cheek still stinging, but her eyes burned brighter than ever, unbroken, unbowed. The hush gave her words the weight of thunder. "You just signed the end of your career, Mr. Thornton." Her voice was low, calm, but it carried across the entire lobby. Phones caught every syllable. The crowd gasped at her composure, at the way she didn't collapse but instead grew taller in the face of humiliation. Bradley sneered, wiping sweat from his brow. "Big words, Maid, but you're still standing in my lobby, with no job, no phone, and no right to be here." "Security, I said remove her!" The guards, caught between their orders and their conscience, shuffled uneasily. One muttered, "Sir, after what just happened—" "Do as I say!" Bradley snapped. His voice cracked, betraying a hint of desperation. But before the guards could move, a new sound sliced through the air. A heavy door swung open near the east entrance, and a tall figure strode in with a presence that commanded silence. Marcus Warren, Maya's husband, moved with the authority of someone used to being obeyed. Behind him, a team of suited executives and 2 uniformed FBI agents followed in lockstep. The entire lobby shifted. Guests whispered furiously. "Who's that? Is that the owner?" Phones turned, recording the dramatic entrance. Bradley's arrogance flickered, but didn't vanish. He adjusted his tie and stepped forward. "Excuse me, sir, this is a private matter. We've got it under control." Marcus's voice cut him off like a blade. "Control? I just watched you assault a woman in front of dozens of witnesses. And worse, you assaulted my wife." Gasps exploded across the crowd. Guests turned from Maya to Marcus, eyes widening as realization dawned. The maid they'd mocked wasn't powerless at all. Bradley froze, color draining from his face. "Well, wife, this is some kind of misunderstanding." "No," Marcus thundered. The only misunderstanding here is how a man like you thought you could get away with this. He turned to the agents. FBI, record everything. One agent lifted a tablet, the red recording light flickering. The other moved closer to Maya, speaking softly. Ma'am, are you hurt? I'm fine, Maya said evenly. But the truth isn't. The crowd erupted again, a mix of shame and awe. Some who had laughed earlier now looked at their shoes, faces red with guilt. Others muttered apologies under their breath. Bradley stammered, his hands shaking. You can't be serious. She walked in here dressed as a maid, disrupting my lobby. I followed protocol. Marcus stepped closer, his voice thunderous. Protocol? Protocol doesn't include theft, destruction of property, or striking staff. What you call protocol, the law calls criminal assault. The FBI agent nodded. We saw the footage uploaded live, Mr. Warren. It's already circulating. Headquarters has it archived. Bradley's bravado cracked. His mouth opened and closed, but no defense came. Maya finally stepped forward, standing shoulder to shoulder with her husband. She spoke to the room, her voice commanding, every word sharp. You all judged me when I walked through those doors. You saw a maid and you decided I was beneath you. You didn't ask who I was. You didn't consider that I might belong here. You saw what you wanted to see and you acted on it. The words sank deep. Some guests lowered their phones, ashamed. Others whispered, She's right. We all assumed. Marcus turned to the executive standing behind him. Document everything. Effective immediately. This hotel is under full internal audit. Every manager, every supervisor, reviewed. The lead executive stepped forward. Already in progress, sir. Corporate is watching live. Bradley staggered. Corporate? You. This isn't how things are done. You can't just... Maya's eyes pinned him. I can, because this hotel isn't yours. It's mine! The crowd gasped again, louder this time. Phones trembled in the air, desperate to capture the moment of revelation. Bradley shook his head violently. No, that's impossible. You're lying. Marcus's smile was cold. Impossible, look it up. Every hotel under this chain, every brick, every chandelier belongs to the Warren family. And tonight, everyone here saw how you disgraced it. Linda, the assistant manager who had laughed earlier, paled. She tried to slip away, but an FBI agent stopped her. Stay right where you are, ma'am. You're part of this too. The shame in her eyes told the story. Bradley turned desperate. Please, Mr. Warren, Mrs. Warren, this was a mistake. I let my temper... Maya cut him off with ice in her voice. No, you didn't lose control. You showed us exactly who you are when you think no one is watching. That's worse than a mistake. It's the truth. Ruth Caldwell's voice rang out from the back. She's right. I saw everything. That man humiliated her, broke her phone, and struck her across the face. If you hadn't come, she would have been dragged out like a criminal. The crowd erupted, now no longer whispering, but openly condemning Bradley. Fire him! Arrest him! This is disgusting. Bradley backed toward the counter, panic in his eyes. I didn't mean... Marcus's voice boomed. Save your excuses. From this moment you are suspended, pending full investigation. Corporate security will escort you off these premises, the FBI agent added. And as for striking Mrs. Warren, that's assault. You'll be answering for that too. Bradley's hands trembled violently. His empire of arrogance was crumbling brick by brick. Maya stepped closer, her eyes unwavering. You thought tonight was entertainment. You thought my silence was weakness. But silence, Mr. Thornton, was the rope you used to hang yourself. And now the world is watching you fall. The weight of her words silenced the lobby again. Guests who had laughed earlier now stared at the ground. Others clapped quietly, ashamed but supportive. Bradley's voice cracked. Please don't destroy me. I've worked too hard. Maya's gaze was merciless. You destroyed yourself the moment you slapped me. Marcus gestured to the guards. Remove him. For the first time that evening, the security guards didn't hesitate. They flanked Bradley, gripping his arms as he resisted, shouting, This isn't over! You'll regret this! But his words rang hollow. Phones captured his disgrace, live-streamed to thousands. His career was bleeding out in real time. As the doors slammed shut behind him, the lobby exhaled. Relief, shame, awe. It all swirled together in the heavy silence. Maya turned to the guests. her voice soft but sharp. Tonight, you witnessed more than arrogance. You witnessed the truth about power. The lobby of the Grand Orion held its breath. Bradley Thornton had been hauled out, the doors thudding shut behind him, but the echo of his arrogance still rattled the chandeliers. Guests stood in uneasy clusters, phones lowered now, as if the weight of what they'd witnessed had finally outrun the thrill of recording it. Maya Warren didn't move for a long second. She let the silence do what speeches can't, force people to sit with themselves. Then she stepped forward, voice calm and carrying. "This building sells perfection," she said, "but tonight you saw the truth underneath the polish. It wasn't the floor that was dirty. It was the culture." A murmur rose and died. The executives near Marcus straightened, waiting on orders. The two FBI agents remained alert, lenses still gathering everything. Maya turned to the front desk. The receptionist who had waved her off earlier stared at the counter, hands trembling. The assistant manager, Linda, stood rigid, throat working, eyes shining with a panic that had finally broken through her bravado. "Ms. Park," Maya said evenly, "you laughed when your manager mocked me. You watched when he smashed my phone. You did nothing when he struck me. Why?" Linda swallowed. I thought he had a reason. I thought you were—" "Beneath you," Maya finished. "The word you're looking for is beneath." Linda's mouth closed. Shame, hot and immediate, flushed her face. Maya lifted her phone so the live stream would catch every angle. "Let me be painfully clear for anyone who works in this industry. A job title is not a license to forget compassion. If your authority makes you cruel, you don't have authority. You have a countdown." Marcus stepped beside her, voice steady. "Corporate has approved a full audit. Effective immediately, the Grand Orion is under operational review by Warren Hospitality Group. Every complaint, every staffing decision, every incident report from the last 5 years will be read. With names." The lead executive nodded. "Compliance teams are en route. Security has sealed the manager's office and server room." One of the FBI agents approached Linda. "Ma'am, we'll need your statement. You're not under arrest, but you're a witness to an assault. Consider this a formal interview." Linda nodded, tears threatening. "Yes, I'll cooperate." Maya pivoted to the guests. "Some of you laughed. Some filmed. A few objected. One woman," she smiled toward the entrance, "said the quiet truth out loud." Ruth Caldwell lifted her chin, eyes bright. "I only said what decency demanded." Maya's gaze softened. "And that, Miss Caldwell, is what leadership looks like when you don't have a badge to hide behind." The doors opened again, this time with measured calm. 2 members of corporate security entered with sealed evidence bags and a technician carrying a slim case. The lead executive gestured. "We're preserving the front desk systems, camera backups, personnel logs. Nothing leaves the premises." Bradley's voice, faint now, leaked from somewhere down the corridor. A last, fading protest swallowed by concrete and protocol. No one moved to help him. Maya faced the room. "I want everyone who works here to hear me. This is not a purge for spectacle. It is a reset. Good people deserve good leadership, and guests deserve dignity that doesn't depend on appearances." Marcus handed her a tablet. "Board resolution," he said quietly. Maya glanced through it, then spoke for all to hear. "Effective immediately, summit-level hotels will institute an equity and dignity standard with 3 non-negotiables. First, blind start protocol. Initial client verification will be performed without seeing the client. Account and reservation validation first, face second. No more, 'you don't look like' accusations. Second, intervention duty. Any team member who witnesses harassment or discriminatory conduct and fails to intervene will be held accountable as if they participated. Silence is not neutral. Third, public redress. When harm is done publicly, repair must also be public. That means documented apologies, comped stays when appropriate, and immediate escalation to corporate ombuds. She looked up from the tablet. "These are not guidelines. They are terms of employment." A tremor of relief moved through parts of the staff. Others looked stricken as the cost of cowardice finally arrived. The FBI agent cleared her throat. "Mrs. Warren, do you wish to press charges for assault and destruction of property?" Maya held the agent's gaze. "Yes, and I want every second of the footage preserved. Not for spectacle, for training. People need to see what this looks like before they repeat it." "Understood," the agent said. From the back of the crowd, a bellhop raised a hesitant hand. "Ma'am, I'm sorry. When Mr. Thornton shouted, I froze. I wanted to help. I didn't." Maya studied him. "What's your name?" "Adrian," he said, voice shaking. "Adrian," she replied. "Next time, step forward. If your uniform stops you from being human, it's the wrong uniform." He nodded hard, jaw set, as if making a vow. Marcus leaned toward the executives. "Staffing plan." The lead executive stepped forward with certainty. "Interim general manager will be Jennifer Morales, currently the night operations lead. Her file shows fair practice, high complaint resolution, zero tolerance for bias." A short woman near the back blinked, stunned. "Sir, you earned it," Maya said. "Don't make me regret the speed with which I decided." Jennifer squared her shoulders. "You won't. And Ms. Caldwell," Marcus added, turning to Ruth, "we'd like to comp your stay indefinitely while our investigation concludes, and invite you to sit on the guest advisory panel we're creating. We need a voice in the room that's not paid to agree." Ruth's laugh cracked into a tear. "I'm old, not quiet. You'll get the truth." "That's precisely why we're asking," Maya said. A reporter's voice rose from outside, muffled through the glass. Then another and another. News vans had begun to crowd the curb, the lobby's phones lit up with calls from other properties, board members and media. The moment had outgrown the building. Maya turned to the camera for the live stream, and by extension the world beyond the doors. "I didn't come here to create a scene. I came to learn the truth." "Tonight," the truth answered, "we will not punish our way to virtue, but we will remove those who cannot carry dignity with their authority. Then we will train, measure and audit until our standards hold when no one is looking." The lead executive's tablet chimed. "Corporate broadcast is ready," he said. "We can address all properties in 3 minutes." "Do it," Marcus replied. "Patch this lobby in." A crescent of screens behind the front desk flickered to life. 30, then 60, then more. Tiles showing lobbies and back offices from across the portfolio. Housekeepers paused with carts. Concierge teams straightened. Managers leaned close. The Grand Orion became a lighthouse for a fleet. Maya set the tablet down and spoke to the screens. "To every person wearing our name. Titles don't make you leaders. Choices do. If you weaponize your position, you cannot work here. If you see harm and turn away, you cannot lead here. If you are tired of apologizing for other people's cruelty, then help me build the kind of hospitality that doesn't humiliate first and ask questions never." She paused, then added, quieter but firmer, "We're done polishing marble while people bleed on it." A rustle of emotion moved through the staff on every screen. Some wiped their faces, others nodded like they'd been waiting years to hear it. The FBI agent stepped close again. "Mrs. Warren, local PD is here to process Mr. Thornton. We'll coordinate custody and evidence." "Thank you," Maya said. "Treat him with the dignity he refused me. Justice isn't revenge." The agent nodded, almost relieved. Maya faced the guests one last time. "If you were harmed by what you saw tonight, our guest relations team will meet you upstairs. If you participated, I expect your apology to be as public as your laughter. If you learned something, take it with you. Practice it where my voice can't reach." A few guests began clapping, tentative, then fuller. It wasn't the roar of a crowd congratulating itself. It was sober, like a courtroom standing for the judge. Marcus touched Maya's shoulder. "Press outside," he said gently. "They'll want a statement." "They'll get one," she replied, "but not the one they expect." She walked toward the doors with Ruth at her side and Jennifer falling in a step behind. Before crossing out, Maya turned back to the staff clustered near the desk. "Tomorrow," she said, "we open on time." "Under whose leadership?" someone asked, almost fearfully. Maya looked to Jennifer. Hers, she said. And yours, if you choose it. Then she stepped through the doors into the camera lights. Questions flew like birds startled into daylight. Maya, why the disguise? Are you pressing criminal charges? Is the Grand Orion closing? Maya raised a hand and the noise softened. Here's your headline, she said. A manager mistook cruelty for control. A system let him. We're fixing both. The Grand Orion will not close. What will close is the gap between our promises and your experience. And Mr. Thornton? A reporter shouted. He'll have his day in court, she answered. We'll have our day in training. One last question cut through. Mrs. Warren, what do you call what happened tonight? Maya didn't blink. Accountability, she said. The kind that stays when the cameras leave. She lowered her hand. The lights cooled. Inside, the lobby began to move again. Not back to what it had been, but toward what it needed to become. And for the first time all evening, the hotel felt like a place worthy of its name.